Carrington just got booted from the Dallas Wings.
DiJonai, your game was stinking in the mud in the Dallas.
DiJonai Carrington is no longer with the Dallas Wings, and honestly, it's not a surprise. Her game had been spiraling downward, but it wasn't just about poor performance. It was the baggage she brought with her, controversial plays, flagrant fouls, and off-court drama that made her more of a liability than an asset. What do you even call a player so chaotic that officials need backup just to have a conversation with her? DiJonai Carrington might be the first of her kind, and for the Wings, cutting ties with her felt overdue. Carrington's reputation as a problematic player was built on incident after incident. This is the same player who poked Caitlin Clark in the eye during a playoff game, injured her own teammate Paige Buchers while trying to take out another opponent, and created such a tense moment during a matchup with the Chicago Sky that a referee called security on her. That's not just bad luck or misunderstood hustle, that's a pattern. 4 flagrant fouls in one season paint a clear picture. Dallas didn't just get rid of her, they escaped a storm. The thing that separates physical defenders from dangerous ones is intent. And when you look at Carrington's game tape, it reads less like a highlight reel and more like a cautionary tale. Her defining moment came during the 2024 playoffs when she went face-to-face with Caitlin Clark, literally. During a crucial Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever game, Clark was going for one of her signature shots. Carrington came in to defend, but instead of a clean block, her hand made direct contact with Clark's face, right at the eye. The impact was brutal, and Clark immediately clutched her face, clearly in pain. She walked away from that game with a black eye, and the WNBA had a controversy on its hands. Carrington's response to the backlash only made things worse. She showed no remorse, no empathy, just a shrug and a vague denial. She claimed she didn't even know she'd hit Clark. Her words suggested the move wasn't intentional, but her attitude showed zero awareness about how serious the moment was. That cold, dismissive energy became a recurring theme in her season. On June 4th, during a game against the Seattle Storm, Carrington repeated the same reckless behavior. Skylar Diggins was on a fast break, looking to finish a clean transition play. But instead of contesting the shot cleanly, Carrington made contact with Diggins' head. The officials wasted no time, flagrant 1 foul. It was too blatant, too familiar. Fans and analysts alike recognized the pattern, another dangerous play from a player who seemed to be targeting star players. Her defenders claimed it was physicality, but others saw it for what it was, a player consistently blurring the line between tough defense and dirty tactics. The backlash wasn't subtle. Fans were done making excuses. That's not defense. That's a cheap shot, one fan posted. Replays confirmed it. Carrington didn't just make contact, she went after the head again. And people started questioning if she even remembered what sport she was playing. This wasn't MMA. This was basketball. Her physicality was no longer an asset. It had become a threat to opponents, to her own team, and to the integrity of the game itself. And the chaos only escalated. On May 21st, against the Minnesota Lynx, Carrington managed to create perhaps her worst moment of the season. In trying to stop Jessica Shepard from scoring, she launched herself into a dangerous block attempt, again going for the head. Shepard took a shot, Carrington went flying in, and instead of stopping the ball, she smashed into Shepard's face. Another flagrant foul, but this time it wasn't just the opponent who suffered. Paige Buchers, Carrington's own teammate, got caught in the fallout. In trying to cushion Shepard's fall, Paige got tangled and almost injured herself. Carrington's recklessness now posed a risk to her own team. Think about that, her style of play was so out of control that she became a hazard to everyone on the floor, regardless of jersey. Even Wings teammates began to show frustration. Playing next to Carrington meant always being alert, not just for the other team's offense, but for whatever chaotic thing she might do next. And fans noticed. One clip from that game showed Carrington attempting to walk off the foul like nothing happened. She made a face toward the camera like she was trying to create a viral moment, like the play was some kind of joke. But it wasn't funny. It was dangerous. Paige could have blown out her knee. Jessica Shepard took a hit to the face, and all of it stemmed from Carrington's refusal to rein in her aggression. This wasn't just about fouls anymore. It became clear to everyone watching that Carrington's presence on the court was toxic. She wasn't just hurting opponents, she was hurting her own team's chemistry. Opposing coaches and players were visibly disgusted. Minnesota's coaching staff after that game looked like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. One player created that much chaos in one sequence. That's not normal. Then came the incident that pushed everything over the edge. On May 30th, during a game against the Chicago Sky, Carrington had an exchange with referee Roy Gulbane that was so intense, so unsettling that Gulbane called security. A referee, someone trained to handle tough conversations, decided he needed protection. That doesn't happen. Players argue with refs all the time. But something about Carrington's presence, her tone, her demeanor, made this official feel unsafe. That moment told the league everything it needed to know. Carrington went to social media afterward, insisting it was just a civil conversation and that calling security was overkill. But if your idea of civil makes a professional official feel threatened, you've crossed a line. Fans, coaches, and league officials couldn't ignore it anymore. The same player who poked Caitlin Clark in the eye, took out Skylar Diggins, nearly injured her own teammate, and had referees calling security, that player had become too much. Dallas had seen enough. After months of dealing with the drama, they finally made a move. Carrington was traded to the Minnesota Lynx in exchange for Diamond Miller, Carly Samuelson, and a 2027 second-round pick. It was clear that the Wings were done defending the indefensible. They weren't just trading a player, they were cleansing their locker room. Now let's talk about what Dallas actually got. Diamond Miller was the number 2 overall pick in the 2023 WNBA draft. She made the all-rookie team and averaged over 12 points per game, along with solid rebounding and assists. In 2025, she's been lights out from beyond the arc, shooting nearly 54% from 3. That's the kind of skill set Dallas can build around offense, basketball IQ, and zero controversies. Carly Samuelson adds more value as a veteran presence. She brings reliable shooting, 41% from the field, 39% from 3, and while she's currently recovering from a foot injury, she doesn't bring any off-court distractions. No flagrant fouls, no Twitter fights with referees, no chaos in the locker room, just basketball. Meanwhile, Minnesota now has to figure out what they've actually acquired. Carrington's behavior hasn't changed. She's still sitting on the bench in crunch time. She still looks lost on the floor. Her game has regressed, and her antics have increased. What's worse, she's now joining a championship contender. The Lynx are 24-5 and looking like a real threat to win it all. Why inject that kind of unpredictability into your locker room? Coaches like Cheryl Reeve are respected because they demand professionalism. People say if anyone can fix Carrington, it's Reeve. But that assumes Carrington wants to be fixed. This is the same player who went on a podcast talking about players sitting out if they don't get what they want. The problem is, she's not even good enough to talk like that. She's not a star. She's not a cornerstone. She's barely surviving in the league. The irony is painful. A team that had a legitimate shot at a championship just traded for a player who might not even be in the league next year. Carrington isn't just a poor fit for Minnesota's system, she might be a walking time bomb. And with one of their star players, Nafisa Collier, dealing with an ankle injury, the Lynx needed steady contributors, not distractions. Dallas, on the other hand, can breathe. They're finally free from having to justify why their player keeps making headlines for the wrong reasons. No more flagrant fouls. No more players getting hurt. No more referees calling security. The WNBA as a whole is now faced with a bigger question. When is enough enough? Carrington's trade isn't just a team move, it's a league moment. A message that dangerous behavior, no matter how talented the player, has consequences. Dallas did the right thing. Now it's up to Minnesota to see if they can manage the storm, or if Carrington's next headline will be her last. If you think she shouldn't be in the league, you're not alone. Comment "Fire Carrington" below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This isn't the last time we'll hear about her. The only question is, what happens next?